Counting on alum Jinger Duggar is raising some eyebrows following the release of her book, People Pleaser, Breaking Free from the Burden of Imaginary Expectations. The 31-year-old has been participating in interviews and podcasts to endorse her newest memoir. She's starting to share the positive feedback she's receiving as well. However, a Reddit thread calls Jinger out for some parts of her book that looked childish. Keep reading to see the discussion. According to its description, People Pleaser will tell the story of how Jinger broke free from living under the approval of others. The Counting on Alum also explains what it's like to constantly seek approval, which is one of her most unhealthy traits back then. The memoir will also tell the story of Jinger's self-discovery, and how Jeremy and her mother helped her walk on the right path. Some Counting on fans on Reddit reacted to the introduction page of Jinger Duggar's book, People Pleaser. According to the poster, they were surprised to read how uninformative the intro was. It shows Jinger introducing herself and sharing how someone asked her what name she would like if it wasn't Jinger, but instead of a fruitful answer, Jinger said that she loves her name and there's no other name she would take aside from Jinger. Many commenters were also upset about how Jinger would bring up such a topic without a proper answer. It's giving high school creative writing, not even lol. I'm genuinely having trouble reading this. And it's not because I can't read, it reads so childish, like something a fourth grader would write. It's a self-help book written by someone who has no sense of self. Where is the ghostwriter? Because this sounds like it was written during third period study hall by someone who just discovered metaphors. What is this book supposed to about? Jinger Duggar also took to IG stories to share updates about her upcoming third child with Jeremy. According to the Counting on Alum, they have already come up with a name for her baby boy, adding that her daughters helped write names. However, Jinger revealed that they will keep it a secret until the baby arrives, saying it's what they usually do. The Duggar family, known for their large household and conservative values, has always been a topic of public intrigue. Jinger Duggar, one of the middle siblings from the famous TLC reality shows 19 Kids and Counting On, has recently released a new book that has sparked a range of reactions. While many fans applauded her for sharing her personal journey, critics have raised questions about the quality of her writing, with some even comparing it to that of a child. Is this comparison fair, or does it overlook the purpose and essence of her work? Let's dive deeper into Jinger's latest literary endeavor to analyze the claims, the style, and the intent behind her writing. Jinger's journey into writing. Jinger Duggar has never shied away from sharing her life with the public. As one of the Duggar children, her upbringing was documented extensively, showcasing a lifestyle deeply rooted in fundamentalist Christianity. Over the years, however, Jinger has gradually distanced herself from some of the stricter teachings of her family's faith, carving her own path with her husband Jeremy. Her latest book, Becoming Free Indeed, chronicles her spiritual awakening and journey away from the legalistic teachings of Bill Gothard's Institute in Basic Life Principles (IBLP), the controversial ministry that shaped much of her upbringing. In this memoir, Jinger reflects on her struggles with fear-based religion, her journey to discovering a more personal relationship with God, and the challenges of unlearning ingrained ideologies. However, as the book made its way into the hands of readers, online critics and reviewers began dissecting not just its content but also its writing style. Some labeled the prose as overly simplistic, drawing comparisons to a child's diary or elementary-level writing. But is this criticism justified, or does it miss the point of what Jinger was trying to achieve? The writing style, a simplicity or a shortcoming? Critics argue that Jinger's writing lacks the sophistication one might expect from a memoir tackling complex topics like religious trauma and personal growth. Sentences are often straightforward and lack intricate structure, with some passages feeling repetitive or overly reliant on familiar phrases. To some readers, this simplicity comes across as juvenile, leading to comparisons with the writing of a child. For instance, phrases like, "I was scared" or "I felt happy" appear frequently in the book, with limited exploration of deeper emotions or nuanced perspectives. Readers accustomed to more literary memoirs may find this style underwhelming. However, it's important to consider Jinger's background and intended audience. Raised in a highly controlled environment with limited access to secular education and literature, Jinger's writing reflects her upbringing and the gradual process of finding her voice. Moreover, her book appears to be written with accessibility in mind. Jinger's target audience likely includes those who share similar backgrounds or are grappling with similar experiences, such as leaving a high-control religious environment. The simplicity of her writing may resonate with readers who value clarity and relatability over literary flair, the power of personal storytelling. While Jinger's prose may not win literary awards, it's crucial to recognize the value of personal storytelling. Her book isn't positioned as a masterpiece of literature, but rather as a heartfelt account of her journey. For many readers, the emotional honesty in her writing outweighs the technical shortcomings. In fact, the straightforwardness of her narrative might be what makes it so impactful for some. Jinger's raw and unpolished approach allows readers to connect with her on a human level, as though she's sitting across from them, sharing her story over coffee. This conversational tone can make her experiences feel more authentic and accessible, even if the writing lacks sophistication. Furthermore, comparing her work to a child's writing may diminish the courage it takes to publicly share such a vulnerable story. Jinger isn't a professional writer, but rather a woman navigating the complexities of her past and using her platform to help others who may be facing similar struggles. In this context, her book serves its purpose: to inspire, educate, and provide hope. Context matters. Jinger's background and intentions. To understand Jinger's writing, it's essential to consider the context of her life. As part of the Duggar family, her education was heavily influenced by the IBLP's teachings, which prioritized religious instruction over academic rigor. Opportunities for creative writing, critical thinking, or exposure to diverse literature were likely limited. Given this background, her ability to articulate her experiences and reflections in book form is a noteworthy accomplishment. Additionally, Jinger's intent with her book seems to be less about showcasing literary prowess and more about fostering dialogue and understanding. She writes not as an academic or theologian, but as someone who has lived through the challenges she describes. Her primary goal appears to be connecting with readers on a personal level, encouraging them to examine their beliefs and find freedom from fear-based ideologies. The double standard for public figures. It's worth noting that public figures, especially those from reality TV backgrounds, often face heightened scrutiny when they venture into new arenas like writing. Critics may hold them to higher standards than necessary, forgetting that these individuals are not always trained professionals in their chosen endeavors. Jinger's book is a reflection of her personal growth, not a thesis on religious reform, and it should be evaluated accordingly. Comparing her writing to that of a child also risks trivializing her experiences. Regardless of the prose, Jinger's journey of deconstructing her faith and navigating her identity outside of her family's expectations is deeply significant. Dismissing her work based on its style alone undermines the courage it takes to share such an intimate story with the world. A broader perspective on memoir writing. Memoirs come in all shapes and styles, from the poetic and introspective to the straightforward and conversational. Not every memoir is meant to be a literary masterpiece. Some are simply about sharing a story in a way that feels authentic to the author. Jinger's book falls into the latter category, prioritizing accessibility and relatability over complexity. Critics might benefit from viewing her work through this lens, rather than comparing it to more polished memoirs by seasoned writers. The value of a memoir often lies in its ability to connect with readers on a human level, and by this measure, Jinger's book succeeds for many of her fans' conclusion: more than just words. Ultimately, comparing Jinger Duggar's book to a child's writing overlooks the broader significance of her work. While her prose may lack sophistication, it carries an authenticity and relatability that resonate with her intended audience. Her book is less about literary finesse and more about sharing a deeply personal journey of self-discovery, faith, and freedom. For readers who expect polished prose and intricate storytelling, Jinger's memoir might not be the ideal choice. However, for those seeking a heartfelt and accessible account of navigating religious trauma and finding a new path, her book offers valuable insights. Dismissing it based on its simplicity risks missing the courage and vulnerability that lie at the heart of her story. In the end, Jinger's book is a reflection of who she is, someone learning, growing, and finding her voice in a world that often expects perfection. And perhaps that's the greatest message of all, that even imperfect stories have the power to inspire and connect. Dacca son Teddy in Cauteria, my multersteri de la familia Duggar, ramanti pe fosa ermerendu va si abonandu va la canal pentru, haute actualtel dvs.